So we're talking about Standard 9, and then we were going to have a principal or assistant principal in, but they are unavailable right now, so it's just going to be me and Erin kind of talking about it.
Okay, so professional learning and ethical practice. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so professional learning experiences. This is what we were talking about with our district congregations. So, and you could speak more to this, but I feel like this district, especially more than others I have worked in, gives a lot of time to collaborate with colleagues and look at data and where to go from there, teaching wise. So maybe you could speak a little bit as to how that's kind of helped you.
I would agree with that. Like in Idaho, where I was previously teaching, we only got to meet like once a month, if that was available to us. And then here we get to do we've got grade level meeting every Friday, which is really nice because then we can like build on children's skills. I can get insight into what the kindergarten standards are so that I can keep helping the children, get to that point. And then we also just get to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Because, that check-in is really nice. And I know that in Idaho, where I was teaching at, it was like expected that we did that, but there was no time. Like,
so it had to be outside of your school day.
Yeah, so sometimes it was like either afternoon, like after class that we would do it, but that would be kind of hard because, it'd be like, well, so-and-so has to go, for appointments, that kind of thing. And then we try to meet for lunch, but then it would be the same thing, like, oh no, somebody has to make a phone call. So it's nice that we have like a designated time because then we can really focus on what we need to do professionally and what the kids need.
Yeah.
And then for the trainings, we were offered actually quite a bit of training, and they would have people come in for in-service and that kind of thing. But I feel like I've grown a lot from the trainings that have been available to us, especially some of the ones that have really hit on what's expected here at Konocti and California as a whole has really helped me because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea. So that's really been helpful. I think that's basically all I can think of for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've tried collecting, like notes and everything, and I have a professional binder that I have.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of go back to it if you need to.
Yeah.
The responsibility for learning. Okay, so this is what we were talking about, looking at data and using it to reflect, to focus on your student learning. So this is kind of where your ESGI comes in?
Yeah, so I use that, and I use it daily to make sure that we're making gains and the kids are, building on their skills. And I try to make sure that I'm, like, purposefully planning with, what they need in mind. And so ESGI is, like, the tool that I use for that. And I try to make sure that everything is, like, purposeful, like if we have a brain break, it's a purposeful brain break, those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as you're talking, I didn't think of this before, but I know that the kinder team uses the early literacy testing. I'm wondering if at this point in the year we could give it to the TCARES and see where they are.
That would be really interesting.
It would be interesting to see, I think. So maybe we'll put that on as an option. I can even come help give it if...
Does Kelly normally do that?
I think she normally does. Well, I think she does it for maybe the 2 classes, and then maybe someone else helps the other. I'm not sure exactly how they split it. But that'd
be really interesting.
Yeah. See where they're at, and then we can have that data for that student for next year when they go into kinder. Or you can go, oh gosh, this kid knows a lot more than I thought, or it's further behind or something. So
that would be really interesting. And then it could tie into the maybe the deeper learning and all of that. And I could try to make sure that I'm still pushing the kids and all that.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Okay. Understanding of cultural, ethnic, gender, and learning differences. So you were talking here about some of the experiences in your room and wanting to be really good with communication with your parents and your kids. So how does that work?
So I've been trying to make sure that if I have a negative interaction with a parent, that I follow it up with a positive and I focus on the positive so that the negative doesn't kind of fall into or like bleed into like other time, like when I'm working with the kids, especially if it's like that particular child's family that I'm, working through issues with. I try to make sure that, because you can't help it, you develop a bias if a negative interaction takes place. So I try to like separate, and then also not let that interaction build on to the relationship of that family, because they made a mistake probably, or I made a mistake, or we both made a mistake,
or maybe no one dating just saw things differently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it was a miscommunication. So I try to make sure that I like just compartmentalize all of that and like separate it, so that I'm being professional.
Right.
Yeah, that I'm the professional in the situation.
Yes, that's fair.
And then this is more probably for like this next one with like ethics and stuff, but like for families that I have like struggled with or anything like that, and make sure that I talk to Shelly, our assistant principal, or I document too everything that like took place with the date and everything, so I have like a contact log going.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that way,
cover yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, like if something were, I could be like, well, on this date this happened, and and as far as like back to this, like I try to make sure that I'm building I try to build the relationship the way that, like, if my child was in the classroom, how would I want the teacher to be? Like, I would want them to be warm and happy and, positive and all that. So I try to do that.
Yeah. Which, honestly, from my point of view, and just, like, watching from the outside, is a very huge skill to be able to create in yourself, because I see a lot of teachers that don't have kids of their own. And I think to myself, I wonder how things are going to change for them when they have kids.
Yeah.
Because it is a very different mindset when you go into it, and when you think about your own kids. Like, I always put myself in what if my kid were in that situation?
I try to do that too. Yeah.
It just kind of, it makes you think differently.
My mom told me, because my mom was a mom first and then a teacher.
Yes.
And she said that she saw a huge difference with the teachers that had the empathy. And she said a lot of them, it was because they were able to see, like how they were interacting, like what they would want with their child.
Yep.
And when she told me that, I was in college and I was like, yeah, I want to be that teacher. I want to do that, because I would never want a parent to feel like, oh, well, she's just young and doesn't care. That kind of like, that would be the worst thing for me, like to make a parent feel that way. So I would never.
And it happens.
Yeah, yeah. I always think of how much I love my dog. Now, times that by like a million. Yeah, and that would be a child. Yeah. So
I mean, it's so funny because watching kids in general, it's like, we have those kids in our class that kind of can rub you the wrong way, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like when you really step back and think about it, it's like there is some reason they're like that. Or they have certain behaviors, or they do certain things, and it's like, we also don't, while we want it to make it something that's workable for the whole classroom and everybody in it, we also don't want to take what's in that kid that makes them out of them.
No, yeah, and like most of the time, especially at this age, even the older kids though, high school kids too, every like behavior challenge can like fall. You can look back and it's a mistake,
right?
It's not because this group, they've been on the planet for 5 years, so if they're not purposefully making me mad.
No,
they're making a mistake. Like if you reflect on where they're at, and you really try to make sure that you come back to like that place of they don't know. So you have to teach them what they don't know.
That's what they're here for.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that was the biggest awakening for me. Like when I was teaching preschool, I would make the shelves all nice, and I would put the toys out, and it'd be cleanup time. I'm like, how come these kids, they didn't know. They didn't know that I didn't teach to clean up. Like, why would they
that
know?
This goes here.
Yeah, like, why?
There.
Yeah, like, I would even have it, like, labeled and everything. But they didn't think to look at the label.
Yeah, they can't read.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or, like, a picture, they didn't think to look. They didn't know. Or if they dumped the, bin of toys over, I'd be like, why'd you do that? And they'd just look at me blankly and like, oh, it's because I didn't tell you to not dump the bin of toys.
Right. And that's where that management piece comes in. It's not only amazing for running your classroom smoothly, but it's also teaching them those specific skills of, all of this play food goes in this basket.
Yeah.
Because it's not only cleaning up your classroom, but it's teaching them to be people that can have organization in their life and can have, structure. And
Yeah.
sometimes their parents don't know how to teach them that either.
No, and then at home too, like it might be a mess, so you want the room to be like functional for them so they can maybe apply that skill later on. Like, and maybe at home even they can be like, Mom, why don't we have a basket?
Right. We may have gotten off topic.
Yeah, we might have.
But I think it's all valid to teaching in general and
I guess those are relevant learning experiences.
Yes. And when it talks about culturally relevant, like our culture here in our area is not one that maybe, some, but on a whole, it doesn't value organization. It doesn't value those skills of cleanliness or those types of things that, we end up having to teach a lot of our kids here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just in general, like the lower socioeconomic, like for some reason, you need to like focus on that.
Yeah.
And I think that I've seen a big difference in some of the kids, like with like picking up and stuff. It's like finally become like just standard practice, like in the classroom, but it was a struggle.
Yes.
Before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that does fit.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
And then you kind of touched on this already about ethics and standards and stuff, like checking in and just making sure that you're covering yourself. Yeah,
and I think the biggest thing with this that I've like noticed is if you don't know, you don't know. So don't like do something. I think that's when people get into trouble. Like they don't just stop and go, I don't know, let's stop. Let's ask somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, I think that
instead they just may go
they
on
like
and then
push.
Go too far.
They keep going too far or something. Like if you need help, that's why everybody's here. So.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we covered everything in it.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.